Well, hello, welcome back. If everybody could find a seat, we're going to get started. We are live on Facebook, so we are not waiting. I'm sure there are people all over the world watching us. Okay. It's good to see everybody back. Here we are again. Can you imagine a more impactful job? Everybody get it? Because I'm high impact practices? Thank you. So today I have the honor of bringing up a couple of our outstanding students who have won our Faculty Scholars Scholarship. I would have to say this is probably the highlight of the president's speech, no offense. Every year, we love to hear from these students. I would like to share, I believe, I'm not sure if my math is right because I'm English faculty, but I think this is our 9th year of giving these scholarships, and I just want to say a big, heartfelt thank you to all of you for everything, reviewing, donating, taking part in it. It's been a great journey. And so, with that being said, I would like to just mention that next year's the 10th year. Wouldn't it be cool if we were able to give even more money? Right now, we have the Cozy Matching Scholarship Fund. So every dollar that's donated gets matched through the foundation. And I think that is something we should take advantage of if you can. And Teresa Cantwell and Scott Dennis are outside the doors with these forms. It's a payroll reduction. It is a payroll reduction, let's call it what it is, deduction. And so even $1, $5 gets doubled, and if everybody, could do that, it would be fantastic. So without any more talking from me, because who cares, I would like to bring up our first scholar who has lots of family here to share with this exciting honor. Her mom came all the way from California, and so just know what you're doing matters, and we're excited to have her. So our first speaker is Lori Roberts.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here. So I'm going to read my speech and try to get through the whole thing without crying. As one of the recipients of the Faculty Scholar Award, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the faculty for your support and for believing in me, as well as investing in education by awarding me this prestigious scholarship. While growing up the youngest of 3 children, both my parents had skilled occupations. Although they encouraged all of us to have a higher education, only my sister completed college and graduate school. Both my brother and I did not finish high school, and that had a big impact on my employment and earning capacity. In my early years, I was a poor student who struggled with special learning needs. My teachers thought that I would not be a successful student, and their message was clear that I would not account for much. After high school, I did go on to earn my GED. The education seed was planted. As I was handed my diploma, I vividly remember the words spoken to me: "You are too smart not to have a formal education." During high school, I took vocational courses to learn clerical trade skills. These skills enabled me to work for some large corporations, working my way up from the mailroom to executive offices. I worked with college-educated executives who knew my potential and who would encourage me to go back to school to receive a formal education. Over the past few years, I attended classes at PPCC, allowing me to advance my education while working part-time and raising my 2 children. I had the opportunity to work at the city attorney's office and fell in love with the law. Afterwards, I experienced some life changes, which led me to enroll in the paralegal program here at PPCC. My plan is to earn my Associates of Applied Science degree and work at the district attorney's office. Receiving this award will allow me to complete my education and serve as a role model of the importance of education. I would also like to mentor other students who are going back to school to complete their degrees. Studying at PPCC has been both a privilege and a joy. My college experiences thus far have surpassed all my expectations. The same student who struggled through elementary school and was told that I would never get to college is now a successful student and a Faculty Scholar Award recipient. While attending PPCC, I have learned to be an active participant in my education and in my life. As an officer in the Paralegal Leadership Club, I have organized a high school outreach program to educate students about career opportunities as a paralegal, and have helped launch a mentoring platform built into the paralegal degree program. These influences and this scholarship have inspired me to give back to help other PPCC students achieve their goals. The confident woman who stands before you today, accepting this award, does not resemble the uncertain and aimless woman who walked onto the PPCC campus years ago. Today, I have direction, meaning, and purpose. I cannot thank the PPCC staff, my mentors like Scott Dennis in scholarships for his endless support, and Professor Bracci, Professor DeVoe, and Professor Chase enough for their time, investment, and commitment in helping me to succeed. And also my family for putting up with me when school is in session. That's a big one. In closing, I would like to acknowledge the faculty at Pikes Peak Community College for their generosity, kindness, and the honor that you have bestowed upon me today. With all my heart, I say a sincere thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker, Erica Lancaster.
Good morning. How are you guys? My name is Erica, and I want to start off by saying it is an honor and a privilege to accept this year's Faculty Scholar Scholarship. I want to thank the faculty committee for offering me this opportunity. Actually, when I received this email from Joellen, I thought it was spam, so I'm glad I didn't delete it. The funds available from this scholarship, along with the addition of the merit scholarship I received, will allow me to endow my focus and efforts on education without the crippling fear of financial instability I, like many independent financial students, face when putting school above it all. I also want to thank my boyfriend for his love and support throughout this journey. Without him, I'd probably still be at my dead-end job, pining away at what I could have been. Now, I've never given a speech outside of presenting to my dogs and my boyfriend, let alone revealing skeletons in my closet to a room full of strangers and acquaintances. However, in light of the stipulations for receiving this scholarship, I'm going to put my best foot forward and try not to trip. My story embodies the essence of life, roadblocks and perseverance we all must endure to make it to the next phase in our lives. As a child growing up, I didn't belong. I wasn't lovable, and the world, I felt, would be better off without me. I excelled academically, but found myself suspended through uncontrolled rage I presented to other students, specifically boys. I was bullied by students and their parents. I was the young girl that was told I was going to drop out and be pregnant at the age of 16. On top of that, my home was a war zone. The only emotion well represented within the confined walls was violence and anger. The circumstances of my upbringing left a gaping hole in my chest that at first I tried to manage with an eating disorder, but then found alcohol and drugs at the age of 13. This is so awkward. This lifestyle became a means to an end, and I put myself into dangerous situations to feed my addiction. I dropped out of high school as a senior, but with enough credits to be considered a sophomore. Instead of repeating a year or two to catch up, I decided to roll in PPCC in 2011. I tried to attend and keep my head on straight, but at that time, education was far from interest. So on the road I went. Flash forward 2 years, at the age of almost 21, I was arrested and charged with 3 misdemeanors and 1 felony. This led me to the drug court program in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I either take the plea deal and get sober or face prison. 8 years into this self-destructive cycle had only left me with a garbage bag of clothes in the streets to lay my head. I was broken and ready to surrender. But with any addiction, quitting is not that simple. Each tormented relapse, followed with strangers in dark places, got me that much closer to sobriety. I spent a cumulative time of 1 year incarcerated and another year in rehabs and sober homes. At the age of 23, I graduated from the program with dismissed charges and 2 years clean from heroin and meth. I stand before you as a survivor of sexual, physical, and mental abuse, a survivor of homelessness, and a survivor for myself. When I graduated the drug court program, I obtained an old optician job I once had before everything hit the fan back in 2013. Although this job was a blessing in every way, I knew my purpose was not being met. I didn't just escape the grips of hell to return to the day-to-day grind of corporate work. I wanted to help people in need of support and care, and not take their money. And there it was, my father's death in 2016. Through a series of tragic events, my dad died due to the ill care of medical professionals. I understand everyone is human and makes mistakes, but I never wanted anyone's family to witness the lack of care brought upon their loved one by medical staff. I received my GED at the age of 24, and after paying off the debt I accumulated at PPCC in 2011, I enrolled in hopes of becoming a registered nurse. My first day back in school felt like the first day of kindergarten. Everything was shiny and new. I missed the smell of books and the overwhelming presence of accomplishments yearning through the class. The impossible had become possible for me. Pikes Peak Community College allows for students like me to get a second chance at a future. I left the optical world and joined student government as executive secretary last semester, which gave me the opportunity for the first time to not only fly in a plane, but to see California. I've been inducted into Phi Theta Kappa and received my CNA certification this summer. In the 3 semesters accomplished here at PPCC, I have transformed from any derogative label that replaced my name into everything I was always set out to be. At the moment, I work full-time as a CNA at a nursing home. It is extremely tough working full-time while trying to maintain a 4.0 GPA to obtain that seat in the nursing program. But what I have learned through my journey and the trenches and mountains I've climbed, if there is a will, there is a way. My dream when I do become a registered nurse is to work out of the country with a nonprofit organization like Doctors Without Borders, or the Peace Corps, or even a Native American reservation, where the crimes against women and drug alcohol use are crippling to the community. A power greater than myself lifted me out of the dark pit I burrowed into, and Pikes Peak Community College provides me with the tools to construct a life I once imagined. So I want to thank you guys so much for allowing me this opportunity and helping me grow in my educational journey, and the faculty and staff for their support. And thank you for being my first audience I've ever given a speech to. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. All right, I got my shoes ready for this semester, everybody. So, anyway, like Sharon Bjorkman, I too was raised at a very young age in Taiwan. And I went from Taiwan to here in Colorado, and then being in the military myself, I had the opportunity to travel places such as Germany and Korea, Japan, and other places. What I didn't realize at that time is how much this would feed into my life, to make my life that much more enriched, and also to be able to enrich the lives of my students as an instructor in communication, and more specifically, intercultural communication. So for the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to do the travel abroad with many students. And this year was just as amazing as last year, as we went to Venice, we went to Florence, and we went to Rome. And while we were there, then I had the opportunity to be able to bring to life for my students what I was teaching in the classroom. That Cynthia was able to take her students, and every time she talked about, pictures, that they were able to be right in front of those statues and be able to take them at that point. And also with Suzanne in her anthropology course, to be able to be among those who live different from us, and how much being with them enriches our lives. But I could stand here and talk to you for 15 weeks, because that's about what I'm trained to do, but I won't. Instead, I have two of my students that I would love to have them come up and talk to you. And I want to say before they come up that it's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to go on this trip with you, and to be able to not just mentor you, but to build a true relationship, and to be able to be a forever mentor. So I'd like to invite Sarah Kristen and also Jordan.
So we don't have any prepared thing. We're kind of doing the impromptu speech thing.
They don't know that. That's okay.
Okay. So Jordan and I ended up spending a lot of time on this trip together, just because, the communication kids kind of all stuck together and we had a really good time. But some of the things that we really we found interesting and we ended up talking a lot about was the differences in how the Italians treated each of us that were in the group. So we were watching for all those little cues that you get, and I'm very big on people's nonverbals. So I watch people's faces, their eyes, I watch everything. I look for those micro expressions. And I noticed specifically there was one time that we were together and we were having lunch, and he asked a question, and the Italian server ignored him and just pretended he didn't hear him. So, and he's sitting next to me. So I repeated it, and suddenly the Italian server was like, "Oh, yes, ma'am," and was very overly friendly with trying to appease me because I had a little bass in my voice because he was ignoring Jordan over here.
She gets scared, basically.
I'm a mom of 4 boys. I can do that. So we noticed those little differences, the cultural differences. One thing that we also noticed was that they have culturally there a group that they call the Gypsies, which they're Romani, but they're listed on all the forums as Gypsy. So we had a long conversation with some of the people that were there, some of the Italians, about the Gypsies, and they say, oh, we're not racist, we're not racist, we're not racist, but when they talk about the Gypsies, it's very clear they are. And I found it very interesting because I'm Romani, and I'm like, those are my people. That nobody really knew it, so it was kind of interesting to see that. So,
we spent the better part of the semester discussing culture and studying what culture means not only on an individual level, but on an international scale as well. And as a college student myself, I think culture is such an important topic to discuss in the college classroom. My trip to Italy, to be honest with you, was not only my first international flight, my first flight at all in my life. So for those of you who haven't flown yet, I don't recommend an 8-hour flight for your first flight whatsoever. But it was fascinating being able to sit at lunch, at dinner, walking around the city of Venice and be able to bring those table talk discussions that we had in our classroom with Dr. Lewis and talk about them while being submerged in that culture. That is truly the best way to talk about culture, is to submerge yourself within it. So I just want to say thank you to the college for being able to provide trips like this and continuing those trips every year, because I know I'm super grateful for it. I know Sarah is, and the rest of our Italy group was as well.
yeah. I mean, it's really different to talk about it, and it's a complete different thing to experience it. So, you talk about those intercultural differences, whether that's the way that people talk, the way they use their hands, the way that they interact with other cultures, but then seeing it in person, and you can see those little nonverbals, the body language and things like that, and you get that full experience of what that is. So,
Once again, thank you.
Well, I'm Ruth Ann Larish, and I took students to the Dominican Republic, and I'm thankful to the Italy group because they had 27 plus students, and because of them, I was able to take the 3 students that signed up for a service learning class. And maybe it was the sweatiness of the thought of getting dirty and putting back and being in dirt and things like that that caused people not to sign up. But I want to give you a kind of thought behind service learning and global studies and service learning and what an impact it had on my students. They're busy finishing up interns, taking care of kids, so they weren't able to be here today, but I wanted to share a little bit about. The tagline for the DR is "Has it all," and indeed it did. Dominican Republic is the second largest and most diverse Caribbean country, situated just about 2 hours south of Miami, less than 4 hours from New York, and 8 hours from most European cities. Known for their warmth and hospitable people, the Dominican Republic is a destination like no other, featuring astounding nature, intriguing history, and rich culture, which my environmental science class was right up that alley. Surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean on the north and Caribbean Sea on the south, their lush tropical island paradise boasts nearly 1,000 miles of coastline, 250 miles of the world's top beaches, magnificent resorts and hotels, and a variety of sports, recreation, and entertainment options, which we did learn the merengue, which we have video on, which is pretty interesting to see. Here you can dance to the pulse of the merengue, renew diverse accommodations, explore ancient relics, centuries past, delight in delicious Dominican gastronomy, which we did with home-cooked meals from the people that were cooking for us at the Forest Institute there. They also have ecotourism adventures, which we did with rafting in our magnificent national parks, mountain ranges, rivers, and beaches. They also have over 6,000 species of thriving flora and fauna, including a high number of endemic species found only there. The largest national park is in the DR and has the only cloud forest in the Caribbean. We also trekked and learned about coffee plantations, mountain landscapes, alpine pastures stretch as far as the eye can see. We explored the areas of rich biodiversity while learning how reforestation and ecotourism affects having significantly helped replenish the land. And we did that every night as we had roundtables with students at the Forest Institute staff and our students as we talked about our day. As we immersed in the local culture, we worked together with nonprofits and the community members to build sustainable solutions to the conservation, economic, and social changes they face. We visited a local colonial zone, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, spent 4 days in a service project, visited a national marine park, and we knew that the island of the Dominican Republic is listed as the 8th country to be most affected by climate change, according to a local environmental expert. We were also informed of water, forestry, biodiversity, emission, and waste issues, which are considered the most important in the country and to its government. We got to experience firsthand to make a difference in that. We got to see a little bit about what was going on behind the scenes. It was rewarding and a little bit revealing to know that these problems are not going unnoticed, and the people of the Dominican are developing initiatives to protect their environment. And this global studies and service learning high-impact practices where travel is the best way to be lost and found at the same time, which my students and I did. So it's been a privilege to travel with PPC students through education, exploration, and see them affecting change on a daily basis. So thank you.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Of travel I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Mattawa, La Paloma, Bangor, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Tocopilla, Barranquilla, and Padilla. I'm a killer. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Travel I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana, Washington, Houston, Kingston, Texas, County, Monterey, Faraday, Santa Fe, Tallapoosa, Glen Rock, Black Rock, Little Rock, Oskaloosa, Tennessee, Chicopee, Spirit Lake, Grand Lake, Devil's Lake, Crater Lake, Beach Lake. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Of travel I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
Y'all are crazy.
You know what I tell people about working at Pikes Peak Community College? I tell them it's fun. Cal, we have a great time doing great work. It's so wonderful to hear from our students this morning. I feel so encouraged about what we're doing. I wanted to make a moment of it, for us to take a moment and let's remember how good this feels. And we are everywhere. We're in Italy, we're in Dominican Republic, with tens of thousands of Pikes Peak Community College graduates who are working in businesses and organizations all over Colorado Springs, all over our state, all over our nation, and even internationally. And we can be really proud of the work that they're doing and the contributions they're making out in the world. The other thing I'll tell you about that song is, the first thing that attracted me to it was the frenetic pace of Johnny Cash listing off these places he's been, because that feels like the pace that we're moving at. You know, yesterday we heard a lot from Byron and Kay McClenny about how the world is moving faster in higher education and community colleges than they've ever seen it move, and Byron's been in community colleges since 1957. It's moving fast, and so and we are in many ways at the foreground of that, really pushing the pace of student success and initiatives that are really making a difference. But I want to start this morning with our 50th anniversary. So we started in 1968 as El Paso County Community College. We were in a little old former Safeway on the west side of town on Highway 24, just on sort of the edge of what's often known as no man's land between Colorado Springs and Manitou Springs. How many people know where that building is? It's Head Start now. Yeah, we've come a long ways since then, and we're going to celebrate this year. So we have two big events coming up. The Golden Gala on October 27th at the Broadmoor is slated to be a big fundraiser. We're going to try to get a lot of folks out, paying a lot of money to be at the event, bidding on auction items. Our goal is to raise $100,000 after expenses from this event to support the college, and in particular to support scholarships. And we have a really fun event coming up where there'll be more dancing and undoubtedly a scavenger hunt. If you have not been to one, trust me, you need to be there. The Jingle Mingle Half Century Soiree is coming up at the Antlers on December the 8th. Mark your calendars. Something different this year, and I'm really excited about this, is we're going to invite former employees and retirees to come and join us at that party. And so I hope a lot of folks that have been part of our story over the last 50 years will come out and be part of that. If you know those folks, encourage them to come to the Jingle Mingle and be part of our celebration. So here's a picture of the old El Paso County Community College. And we've got some student life events that are coming up. Student Life is in particular going to host a homecoming party on October the 5th, and we're going to be inviting alumni. The mayor will make a proclamation of October 7th through the 13th will be Colorado Springs Pikes Peak Community College Week, and we'll be celebrating together with the city our contribution to our city. And there will be lots of other things going on. So the Pioneers Museum will be hosting a display about our history. There will be online and printed materials out at our campuses, banners. And so look for that and join in the celebration of the contribution we've made to our community in so many lives, like the lives that we heard from this morning, the young people who shared their stories. This has been going on for a long time in our community, the work that Pikes Peak has done. There are a number of status reports that I always do as part of our updates. If you've been around with me for a while, this is my 8th year of doing this, so maybe it'll be quite a long time before you have to see me dance again like that. And by the way, students and Regina, thanks for joining in. That was less embarrassing since you were with me. But a lot of good news in this status report, and I just want to go through and share a little bit about where we are. So sort of standard updates, enrollment. We've been, climbed a huge mountain during the Great Recession. We've lost enrollment over a number of years, but this past year we were up a little bit less. We were actually up less than 1%, but we were up. So that means that the decline in enrollment has stopped. We were up this summer by about 4%. And right now, today, for fall semester, we're up about 2.2%. So I don't know where we'll be after census date, but this is really important to us. It's certainly important to the number of students that we serve, to healthy programs, as well as to the operational budget of our college. And for those of you who are newer to us, we're in great shape with that. So not only are we up in enrollment, but we're also as we do most years, there's a tuition increase, which will be part of our budgeting plan for the coming year. So the state board raised tuition by 3%. And in addition, we have this year about $2 million of new state money that's coming into Pikes Peak Community College. I'll say more about this in a few minutes, but we're investing those dollars in the impact places with our students. And in particular, key investment is 7 new faculty positions that we'll be adding on top of 10 new faculty positions that we added last year. So significant investment in student learning and in the student experience. And it's making a difference for us. Folks, look at this. This is an amazing graph. 7 consecutive years we've raised our retention rates. It's one thing to put together a bunch of initiatives and knock your retention rates up for a year and then see them come back down, and that's what I see a lot from other colleges. 7 consecutive years of progress. I have my fingers crossed that I get to stand here next year and say it was 8, but I don't know yet what fall semester holds. But what I do know is that we went from worst to first over this 7 years. So when I started at Pikes Peak, we were at the bottom in terms of retention rates among the colleges in Colorado. This past year, Front Range Community College had a retention rate of 54.3%. And we had the best, and I'm proud of that for our students and for the good work that we're doing for them, for the difference we're making for them. And I'll remind you with that 54.4% up there behind me, that 25% of our students attend using military benefits, so we have a lot of transients with our military students. And remarkably, we serve the highest percentage of Pell recipient students of any of the metro colleges in Colorado. And so a remarkable accomplishment on the part of all of you. Thank you for what you do to make that happen. If retention numbers are good, graduation numbers ought to be good. And indeed they are. So if you take a look at what we've got up here, 5 out of the last 6 years, we've set record numbers of graduates. Last year, we started a new process called Auto Confer. So we were looking back at all of our students and said, if anybody has met the requirements to earn a degree, we're going to go ahead and confer that degree to them. And so we saw a big bump up in our graduation numbers. What we expected to see this year, my boss told me this would happen, fellow presidents told me this would happen. It's absolutely part of the formula, is that you'll see a big decline this year after the first year of Auto Confer. But that did not happen. And in spite of the fact that our enrollment was going down at the time that last year's graduates came to Pikes Peak, we still set another record in the number of graduates. We were up by 9. And that's great, and that is a win for our community. Think about 3,720 graduates leaving Pikes Peak Community College and going to work in our community, transferring on to 4-year degrees, and making a difference across our region. What a huge impact we're having. Thank you for making that happen. Well, so we're doing well with enrollment. We're certainly doing well with student success. And incredibly, we're also doing very well on the business side. I want to take a moment to acknowledge our business team, Dwayne Reese, who's new to us last year, Michelle Frazier, Eileen Hogue, all just doing wonderful work. And if you take a look, last year, our reserves dipped a little bit because we made a lot of capital investments. But this year, even while we invested in 10 new faculty positions, even while we were making all this progress with student success, we were also able to increase our reserves. So we're at almost 50% of a year's annual budget in reserves. We're at about 39, well, we're right at $40 million. You'll see that we have significant plans for this money. So our role isn't just to accumulate reserves, but it is to use the reserves that we're able to accumulate to invest in more student support and success. And we have some very big plans for that'll be coming up this year, and I'll share those in just a moment. And finally, I want to mention new leadership at the community college system. And Joe Garcia has just joined us as our system president. How many of you know Joe from when he was here at Pikes Peak? Yeah. Joe is a great leader here at Pikes Peak. I've heard a lot of really good things about his term here. When I came to Pikes Peak, there have been a couple of presidents in between when Joe was here and I joined, but you wouldn't know that from the way that people talked about Joe. He was still very much revered, I would say, at Pikes Peak when I came 8 years ago, and I'm thrilled to have him back. I think you will see a lot more focus on innovative student success strategies from the community college system with Joe at the helm. He is very people and very student-oriented, and it's really been a pleasure to work with Joe since he joined us a couple of months ago. We were recognized this year with an award called the HEED Award. That's the Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award. And this is a really big deal for us. I want to recognize Keith Barnes for his work in putting together the application and driving a lot of the work here. Keith, you here? Thank you, Keith. So I took a look at last year's winners of the HEED Award. There was one college in Colorado, Denver University, who was recognized with the HEED Award. There was, I think, one technical college that was recognized with the HEED Award. Mostly what I saw were about 25 flagship universities around the country that were doing the work required to meet the standards of the HEED Award. And I'm really proud that Pikes Peak Community College is joining that group. Officially, this information is embargoed, so I'm just whispering to you that we are HEED Award winners. This will be out shortly. I think they're probably waiting for school to start and to have one big announcement that comes out around the country about the HEED Award winners, and then we'll be able to do a press release on that and really push it out to our community so that the whole community can know about the good work that we're doing. But I asked Keith for a rundown of what some of the things that we're doing are that help lead to the HEAT Award, and I'm not even going to get close to all of the activities that he listed and connected to, but they started with support from senior leadership, investment in diversity, the position we created that Keith is in as our Chief Diversity Officer, working with the Hispanic community. We have a Hispanic Advisory Council, setting up affinity groups and clubs like the Black Student Union and the Latinx Club on campus, working with lots of different organizations that are out in our community, being part of things like Diversity University, initiatives to hire more diverse faculty and staff at the college, or just sort of the beginning of that list. And when I read the list of things Keith sent to me, I thought, well, no wonder we won the HEAT Award, and well, we should have. And so I'm really proud of this on behalf of the college. I think it's a signal from an outside organization looking in at the work we're doing and giving us a huge thumbs up that we're doing great work in this area, and it's critically important to the students that we serve. So on that same note, just a word about Hispanic Advisory Council is an external group that's been working with us for about a year and a half. We're very close to launching a major marketing campaign. I think we're just in sort of the final stages of wrapping up what that's going to look like in order to really target a lot of our Hispanic community in the Colorado Springs area. One of our goals is to become a Hispanic serving institution, and people have asked me, well, why is that? Where did that come from? Well, the bar for that goal is that 25% of your students identify as Hispanic or Latin. And when I look at our largest serving school districts, the largest feeder school districts for Pikes Peak Community College, they're over 30%. And so this seems well within range for us to reach this goal. And it's really important to the future of our community that we're educating all members of our community and giving them the opportunity to be in professional jobs and careers. And so this is a critical initiative for us. And I think over the next few years, in our strategic plan, which is a 5-year plan, and we're in year 2, our goal is by the end of that 5 years to reach this goal of 25%. And we're at about 18 or 19% right now. Another one of our key initiatives revolves especially around male students of color. Pikes Peak Community College is certainly not unusual in this respect, but when we look at disaggregated data from Pikes Peak, and if you were with Kay and Byron yesterday, you heard a lot about the need to disaggregate our data. The one thing that really stands out in that disaggregated data is that our male students of color are not doing well at Pikes Peak relative to all of our other populations, and it's important for them and for our community that they do well. And so we've got a number of initiatives underway. A male student of color coach who will focus specifically on developing cohorts of students so that they know each other, so that they're connected with a staff member, and that staff member can help them connect with resources on campus. Heard a lot yesterday, too, about what works. Connectedness and relationships work. And so relationships with one another, peer groups on campus, feeling comfortable, feeling welcome, knowing you have a place here, feeling connected. We also have a group of cozy coaches. So this is a wonderful story for us. We have 3 cozy coaches, and cozy is Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative. If you're new with us, the Colorado Scholarship Opportunity Initiative has been a game changer for Pikes Peak Community College. A few years ago, we would give out every year about between $200,000 and $300,000 of scholarship money. Today, we give out well over $1 million a year in scholarship money. COSY is the reason. COSY is a matching grant program from the state of Colorado. This year, they recognize the need to expand that. So COSY dollars primarily go to students with financial need. It's also targeted a lot at students who are in career and tech ed programs and first-generation students. Turns out that giving those students scholarship money is really helpful and helps them get over the bar and be successful, but there's a need for more. And so our cozy coaches will be doing wraparound services, creating cohorts of students who are connected with one another, connected again with a staff member who can help them access all of the resources we have on campus. And so I'm really excited about these 2 initiatives that are really targeted at some of the populations who continue to struggle at Pikes Peak. We also have a third initiative underway this fall that I'm very excited about. It's working with the University of Southern California out of Los Angeles, and it's called the Center for Urban Education. They like to go by the name of CUE, and they are focused specifically on underrepresented student success in math classes. So when they did a lot of research, and they said, what is the biggest barrier to our African American, Native American, Hispanic students' success in college? They identified math as the biggest barrier, and so they began to really drill down on that. What's happening in these math classes? How could we change the game in those? I want to thank Joe Southcott for taking on the leadership of this. He'll be our principal investigator on this program, and we have 5 math faculty who have signed up to be part of this, and they will be receiving tools and training. They'll be going to seminars around the country to really focus in on how do we make a difference specifically with underrepresented students in our math classes. And one of the things that this group would tell you is that the techniques and tools that they're bringing into colleges are making a difference for all students in math classes, and that's really important for us. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about CESI. So again, if you're new with us, CESI is the Community College Survey of Student Engagement. And our speakers yesterday, Byron and Kay McClenny, were founders of the Community College Center for Research at Texas A&M, and that's where CESI comes out of. And we got a lot of good data from CESI this year. One of the things that CESI allows us to do is to look at how our students are doing relative to other students at similar community colleges around the country. And the other thing it allows us to do is look at our own progress, because they're very consistent with the questions that they ask and how they're measured with students. And so here's a little bit of information for us. Many businesses and organizations would say this is the most important question out there. Would you recommend an organization to a friend or family member? And 95% of our students say, yes, I would recommend Pikes Peak Community College to a friend or a family member. 87% of our students rated their overall satisfaction with Pikes Peak as good or excellent. So at this time of year, this is really important to remember, right? This is the time of year when we can have a couple of dozen folks who are not happy with us, and it feels like there's this enormous sea of dissatisfaction. In fact, the data show us that our students are very satisfied and very happy with their experiences with us. So as you're working through those few issues of helping students get the right schedule or get into the class that they need, or a financial aid issue, whatever it might be, keep in mind we're doing a great job across the board with the approximately 20,000 students that we're serving here at Pikes Peak. This is the same question: how would you rate your experience? Excellent and good. And notice the progress we've made. So in 2015, 28% said excellent. This past year, 33% said excellent. And so really proud of the progress we're making on that. And here's how we stack up with other colleges. So CESI breaks their data down into 5 areas. And very, very key. And I can send this out to the whole college, and I will. If anybody in the audience will send me a reminder, Kim Barnett, I would be really pleased to send this out, the entire study, to the college. But their 5 areas are active and collaborative learning. Take a look. We're at 53.8% of our students say we're doing a great job with that. 49.2 is the average among 100 large urban community colleges similar to Pikes Peak. Student effort, we're at 50.8. The cohort we're compared to is at 49.6. Academic challenge, we're at 52. They're at 49.7. We're ahead of our cohort in 4 out of these 5 measures, and that feels really good, and we got a little bit of work left to do here. So when we look at active and collaborative learning, this made me particularly excited. 7 different areas that are measured here. In all 7 areas, we made progress versus ourselves in 2015. And I want to take a moment to note and thank the work of CETL and HIPS. I think the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning and High Impact Practices. Those are big scaled efforts that I think have made a difference across our college over the last 3 years. I think the adjunct advancement program, the work that we're doing around PDW, the speakers we've brought in, the workshops we've brought in, the efforts around service learning, community learning, writing intensive classes that we're doing in HIPS, all of these have been big scaled efforts that have impacted a lot of students. And what's really exciting is to then see the results on the back end of this. Six percentage point increase in the number of students who said that they asked questions or contributed in class discussions. 7% increase in made a class presentation. 8% increase in worked on projects with other students during class. 7% increase in working on projects outside of class. And these are all key measures of the student experience and engagement. And so, again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being part of the success that we're seeing here. And similarly, student-faculty interaction is an area where we've seen big increases. We were actually below our cohorts in 2015. Now we're above them, and we made progress on all 6 measures that they look at within student-faculty interaction, and receive prompt feedback, 6% increase. Discussed grades or assignments, 4% increase. Talked about career plans with an instructor, 4% increase. That's great engagement from faculty with our students. And again, I just thank you for the difference you're making. Assessing results showed us one area for improvement, and that's the usage of student organizations is low. So we're statistically below our peers, and we didn't really make progress. This is going to be an area we're going to focus on, because one of the things I heard very clearly yesterday, again, going back to this, is that connectedness on campus matters. And so we have a lot of new groups that are starting. I mentioned a couple of them, like Black Student Union and the Latinx Club starting up on campus. Those are places for students to make connections with others and to feel a sense of belonging and to feel that they are at home and welcome here. And so I think this is really important work that we're going to emphasize in the coming year. We've made great strides with our foundation. I want to mention we have a foundation board member here. Thank you, Martha Barton, for joining Pikes Peak Community College today. Martha is one of the people who goes out and helps us raise this $2.4 million that you see on the screen in front of you. Thank you. Our foundation has done phenomenal work. In 2017, I was so proud of the work we've done. We were at $2.1 million, and this year, we're wrapping up at $2.4 million. Almost all of that money is earmarked for student scholarships. That's what our focus has really been. We've been focused almost 100% exclusively on student scholarship funding, and as you heard this morning, it makes a real difference for the students we support. In the coming year, we're also going to begin some capital fund work. We have some significant new capital investments that are coming online, and we've talked to our foundation board, and they have said, yeah, we're going to get behind this, and we're going to help raise capital funds for the college as well. So I want to say thank you for that. And a little bit of background information about how the foundation is doing. Student success rate of students who get scholarships is 84%. We were at about 90% last year, so we've gone down a little bit. I think the story behind that is that we have far more students receiving scholarships, and this is also part of the story of why we got the COSI grant. So $420,000 over 3 years to fund 3 coaches working with our scholarship recipients. And here's the bet that we made with the state of Colorado and the COSI group to fund this grant. We said, we think that these coaches can make a big enough difference in student retention and student completion that they'll pay for themselves, and we'd love to have 3 years of funding to prove that to ourselves and to you. And they said, okay, go do it. And so those coaches are started. They're on board. They're in our new community table space, and I'll share about that in just a few minutes. But be on the lookout for word from them. They're going to want to connect very closely with faculty members to track the progress of students who are part of their cohorts and see what they can do to intervene and make sure we keep students on track before they get very far off. Learning Commons, another huge win for Pikes Peak, and Patrice Whitley, Andy Scott, the whole team out of the Learning Commons doing just phenomenal work. We estimate that we were up about 86% this past year in the number of tutoring hours that we logged versus the year before. Some of that may be better reporting, some of that, but undoubtedly a lot of that is the investment that we made in the Learning Commons, the restructuring and rebuilding of that, the integration of all tutoring services together. And I think that the success you're seeing with the Tutoring Center, with the Learning Commons, is directly connected back to the graduation rates, the retention rates, the student success that we're seeing. So thanks to the team from the Learning Commons. Are you guys here? Well, of course, I should have looked on the front row. Thank you. Student Services, just a quick update. EAB Navigate is up and running, and we're using that as our primary interface for student registration. We acknowledge it's not perfect, but we also know it's much better than the Banner student interface was. It's still a work in progress. There are improvements that continue to be made. If you have concerns about it, Homer Wesley is the leader of that, and Kevin Hudgens, and we're getting some good attention around the country for the work we're doing with EAB and the effort around the College 101 piece to help students identify what their major and degrees should be. It's far from perfect, but it's better than what we used to have, which was nothing. And we're doing a good job, not a great job, but we're getting there with advising so that students have a 4-year plan or 4-semester plan, or if they're part-time, however many semesters are needed to get to graduation. We heard that a lot yesterday. We think that that's critically important. I think we're well ahead of many of our peers with this particular data point, which Byron and Kay were talking about. Very few students come out of their first semester with a roadmap to the finish line. Right now, I think we're at about 75%. I want to thank Lincoln and his team for that. We've done really good work with a focused goal this year of getting more students a roadmap to the finish line. And I think that is and remains a critical goal for us, that the students know what they need to do to get from here to the graduation stage. Here's the community table. This is a beautiful space. If you haven't seen it, stop in, take a look, say hello. You'll have a chance to meet our cozy coaches who are headquartered out of there. The community table is in room A312, so that is the old what? Writing Center, right. Thank you. Boy, the world changes and I forget. The Writing Center, of course, moved into the Learning Commons, and so this was some of the space that we were able to reallocate. And so you can see from the picture, we've made some investments. We've brought refrigeration into this space. We've brought pantry shelving into this space. And we're looking to really ramp up the whole student support piece. I think that that's critical, again, to our students and their success. So not just the academic piece, but it's really hard to be very worried about the academic piece if you or your family are hungry. So we're going to be doing a lot more in our partnership with Care and Share. I think last year we put out, if I remember right, 18,000 pounds of food. Anne Marie, Tico, you guys just did a phenomenal job organizing and making that happen. It made a difference for people, and it was remarkable, and thank you. And this year we're trying to step that up even more. Instead of just having monthly food drives, there's going to be a lot more emphasis and focus on everyday availability of food through the community table. We also have a group of students who, from our social work program, and again, thank you, Anne Marie and Tico, they're trained by United Way in the 211 system. So 211, if you don't know, you can call 211, and it's a community resource line manned by United Way to help people throughout our community connect with community resources that can be things around childcare, paying utility bills, getting support or help with rent, a whole host of things, military and veteran issues. So we have students who are now trained by United Way as 211 operators who can provide that service in person at the community table. That's well worth clapping. I'm just very excited about this continuing movement that we're on around supporting the whole student. Next up is the Communication Commons. This is one floor up from us in A212 off the Rotunda. And the Marketing and Communications team has relocated here. And one of the reasons they've relocated here is to create an interface with our student newspaper and student interns who are working on publicizing events that are going on campus. And so I think our first year of student newspaper was a phenomenal success last year. Deidre, I think I saw you earlier. Thank you. You know, we saw students from the newspaper taking on some tough issues out there and doing a really great job of reporting on it. I think back in particular about the DACA issue. And when that was really at its peak around the country with what was going on and what were the role of colleges around our DACA students, there was our student newspaper with a phenomenal article talking specifically about DACA students' experience at Pikes Peak Community College. I really appreciated that. So stop in if you want to see the marketing public relations folks. If you want help with the project, it's now located in A212. Student learning assessment is, we've made tremendous strides here, and we continue that path. I want to talk about some of the progress. So this year we have 15 assessment coaches working. I look back just a couple of years, and we had 6 back in academic year 15 and 16. And we have 4 workshops coming up between now and the end of September. So if you're looking for help, if you're looking for support, if you're looking to take assessment in your academic area to the next level, these are the workshops that can help you do that. And the 15 assessment coaches out there are really a resource for you to reach out to for support. We're doing the same thing on the students' services side. That student services also has a role in assessment, which is really critical. So we have 8 coaches now in student services doing assessment work. And one of the areas we're really focused on and looking forward to is student clubs and organizations. So I mentioned earlier, that's something that's an opportunity for us, and we're going to be focusing particularly on that area through assessment this coming year. I mentioned earlier faculty growth, so 10 new faculty positions. I think it had been a decade since we'd added any faculty positions at Pikes Peak. When you take last year's new additions and this year's, there are 17 new full-time faculty positions that previously did not exist at Pikes Peak. That's certainly creating some office and space crunches, as many of you are aware. But we also know that a tremendous difference that full-time faculty make in their interaction and connection with students. The ability to be here on campus all day, every day, available and connected to the entire life of the campus is critically important to the success that we're having. I think this is a winning strategy for us, and so here are the 7 new faculty positions we're adding for this year. We might as well clap for that one because this one's not going to get any applause for sure. Accreditation updates. I want you to know 2 things. We have a report due, and it's not a visit, it's just a report due by July, giving an update on our progress. And our goal is to have that report ready for the campus to review, comment on by January. So we're working really hard. We've got a great team working on this, getting the report together and pushing that forward. Patricia Daiwara, thank you in particular for your leadership with this. Chris Johnson, great leadership with this as well. Keith Barnes, we're pushing that forward. We're going to ask for you to help us review this report for accuracy and completeness in January, and then we're going to be ready to submit this by July of 2019. And new programs, so much going on. Oh my goodness. Bachelor of Science in Emergency Services Administration is beginning this fall. I think as of a few days ago, we had 16 students enrolled in our brand new first bachelor's degree program. Rob Hudson and team, thank you for your work on this one. cybersecurity started in spring of 2018 and came out of the blocks with 116 students already enrolled. I'm not sure exactly where we are today, but enormous career opportunities out in our community for cyber students and tremendous enrollment. The state of Colorado took a look at what was going on here and passed a bill last year that gives us $300,000 a year for the next 3 years, starting with this year, to help us fund our cyber program, which is really important because cyber is a very expensive program to maintain and operate. We have our new Certified Dietary Manager program that started in spring of 18. Social Innovation is a partnership with the Better Business Bureau, their Colorado Center for, Dennis Natali, you in the audience? No. So the Better Business Bureau operates the Colorado Institute for Social Impact, and they partner with businesses who want to be socially impactful businesses. So one of the businesses they would hold up would be Tom's. Anybody know about Tom's shoes? Every time you buy a pair of Tom's shoes, there's money that goes to third world countries to help with people that are suffering from extreme poverty. And so there are a lot of people interested in social innovation entrepreneurship. Dennis Natali's done a great job of plugging into this, starting a new program. I checked with him earlier this week. We already have 13 students signed up into this program for the coming semester. And of course, coming up fall of 19, possibly, hopefully, we'll see, our new BSN in nursing. And so this was a huge legislative fight, as you know, last year. And we prevailed in that, and we will have our bachelor's degree in nursing up and running soon. There are a lot of accreditation and certification processes that we have to go through with that. But we think we can be up and running by the fall of 19. Another program that we're looking to have up and running, we have a whole host of allied health programs that we think are opportunities, but Surge Tech is at the top of those. Our hospitals are really clamoring for this program and this support. They guarantee us they can hire every graduate we can produce. And one of the things that I think about these new healthcare programs is that we take a small percentage of the people who apply to our nursing program. You heard our aspiring nursing student talking up here, and the struggle she has and is facing to maintain a perfect 4.0 so she can get into the nursing program. I checked last year. The average GPA for a student entering our nursing program, anybody want to take a guess? 3.98. That does not leave a lot of room for B's and C's. That's the average incoming nursing GPA. There are a lot of great careers and opportunities in healthcare, and so we're really interested in creating more allied health programs. The people who are not getting into our nursing program still have much to offer in allied health, and so starting programs like Surge Tech are going to be really important. We have a lot of partnerships going on in the community. Some I've already mentioned, and I'll mention a few more here. At the top of our list is a multi-year effort. Many of us were involved in. Conrad really led the charge on this, though he's been pushing me ever so politely for years around getting public transportation to the Rampart campus. So we partnered this year with the University of Colorado Health Center, and they have a Northern Hospital, Colorado Children's Hospital, and Penrose St. Francis. All are building new hospitals up north. None of them have public transportation available to them. They need public transportation for their employees as well as patients and families of patients. So we combined together to really push the city, and we got it done. We got bus service. On Monday, public transportation city buses will be arriving at the Rampart campus. So big win for us. And if you don't know this, let me tell you, publicize it in your classes, please. All you need is your student ID, your current student ID. If you have an old one, you're going to have to get a new one made. And you have a bus pass in that student ID for all buses in the city all day, every day. It'll get you to Rampart or anywhere else the bus goes. So that's a big win for our students. We have just been named the, not a, but the Regional American Heart Association Training Center. So we'll be certifying and overseeing any American Heart Association training. In particular, that's a lot of CPR training, and this is going to be a new, large body of work for Pikes Peak to take on. And we'll be headquartering this out of a new facility that I'll tell more about in just a moment. The Quad Innovation Partnership is going strong. I went to 2 public reportings of the Quad over the summer. One was a report out on what they had done over the spring and fall, and then the other was what they had done through the summer intensive program. I would say both of those report outs were attended by a couple of hundred community leaders who came out to see what in the world Pikes Peak Community College, the Air Force Academy, Colorado College, and the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, what the 4 of us might be doing together, and it turns out that we're doing a lot together. I heard the clients of the Quad talking very positively about their experience of working with our students, and this is the working model that we're using with the Quad now. It's evolved a bit, but what we're doing is we're offering teams, and every team is guaranteed to have a representative from all 4 institutions. And they're going to work for businesses and organizations in town to help them solve what we would call big rock problems, problems that they've struggled with for years, and we're sending teams in to really look for innovative solutions to the problems that businesses and organizations are facing. So we've done everything from a project with the city and county to help more people access resources. This was a great project. They did such a good job. They got in and started working with the city and county. They did a heat map, the students did, to look at where the greatest concentration of people are who receive benefits. And in particular, they were looking at WIC benefits, which is food stamps, food support. Well, the biggest concentration of people receiving the benefits was in southeast Colorado Springs. Guess where you got to go to go access those benefits? The Citizen Service Center, which is way out on the west end of Garden of the Gods. So they had a bunch of students who spent multiple days taking buses and public transportation out there, and they found out that many of them were experiencing 6 hours of transit time to try to get from neighborhoods in southeast Colorado Springs out to the Citizen Service Center. And we also found out that people were on average having to make at least 4 visits there. So being young and innovative, they came up with a really cool solution. They came up with an app that allows people to submit all the documents they need to submit in a secure manner and not have to make those trips out to the Citizen Service Center. And so the city and county were thrilled with this work. We also worked with a high-tech company that makes the screen interfaces. You might be interested to learn that they're here in Colorado Springs. They make the screen interfaces for the highest-end cars in the world. So their clients are people like Ferrari, Rolls-Royce, I think Jaguar. I don't even know who all. They're a remarkable company here in our community. And they thought, what else could we do with this technology? They got a group from the Quad to come and work with them, and they came up with ideas around putting these screen interfaces and this technology into household appliances. So when you're filling your washing machine and you realize, oh, I'm almost out of detergent, you could press a button and detergent would be ordered and arrive at your house, and that would be built right into your washing machine. They were thrilled with their experience with the Quad. So the Quad is doing great. We are very close to creating enough revenue for the Quad to be a profitable enterprise, which I'm really excited about. We put in just a little bit of money last year to help the Quad along, and this year I think we'll actually make money from the Quad. And so very excited about this work, and the students who have participated invariably get up and talk at these public events and say, this was a life-changing event for me to go in and work on a real project and a real problem with this team from the other institutions. And so it's been a huge win for us, and I would say the community loves this program. And this is how it's been being marketed now. It is basically like having a group of McKinsey consultants come in and solve problems for you at a 90% discount. And so Quad is doing great. And if you don't know, they're located in the basement beneath Loyal Coffee downtown. So they've got a super cool space, and director who is a former what's the name of it? He worked in Uganda and started businesses in Uganda to help small villages in Uganda create milling operations. And so he's been quite an entrepreneur and really helped our students grasp the idea of doing this sort of problem solving and be very innovative for the companies they're working for. I also want to mention the Catalyst Campus Cyber Range is up and operational this fall. So the Catalyst Campus is the old train depot just on the east edge of downtown, and it is now a hub for cyber and defense contractor companies. And we have a classroom and a cyber range in there where we are training people in cyber certifications, and we're primarily doing non-credit work at the Catalyst Campus. The UC Health Community Education Center is a brand new place for us. So we just got HLC accreditation to be operational there. We're moving paramedic training program in there. It's off of Printers Parkway, just sort of right in the center of town near Memorial Park. And also our American Heart Association group will be headquartered out of that space. And, as you see below, paramedic and American Heart Association. So a wonderful new partnership with the University of Colorado Health Center. This education center is beautiful space. It's an old kids care center that they've put several $1 million into renovating, and our annual rent, by the way, is $1 there. So it's a good deal. We saw Jordan Wright up here just a little while ago. Wasn't he terrific? He is the winner of the National Coca-Cola Leaders of Promise Scholarship through Phi Theta Kappa. A huge honor to Jordan Wright. And Mickey Jackson, a National College Reading and Learning Association. He is the outstanding tutor for 2018. A couple of students we can really be proud of their work. I first met Mickey when he was an enlisted soldier down at Fort Carson, and he was in developmental education classes here at Pikes Peak. And if you ever are in the tutoring center, I'm sure you'll see him. But boy, from going from developmental education classes, and I met him because we were talking about the AAA 109 class together that he was in. He's gone from that to now applying to, winning national academic awards and applying to Ivy League schools to transfer to from Pikes Peak. So really proud of him. And still much happening. Division realignment. You may have heard from Dr. Baker about this already. Josh has been out talking this up a little bit. I have been as well, but I want to continue to push it out there that we're talking about division realignment again this year. No decisions have been made. I really assure you of that. We do have a feedback process that we're going to be starting up in a couple of weeks, asking for survey responses. I heard a lot from Kay and Byron yesterday about meta-major areas and the need to connect students together who are in similar degree programs, maybe the need to create support services that are connected specifically to certain degree program areas. I'm not sure where this will go, but I do know that we're committed to these guiding principles of doing no harm, getting feedback, and being transparent about the process. So I expect the conversation will go on for months. If you feel strongly about it, one way or the other, or in any way, please get involved, let your voice be heard. I have a quick update on focused goals from last year. So if you're new to us again, just a reminder, we have a strategic plan that covers 5 years, and it's huge and can feel overwhelming. So we have a process of we take a piece of that strategic plan out every year, and we say these will be the focus goals for the coming year, and we have a process for trying to prioritize what those will be. And they're all pointed, of course, at increasing student success and better student outcomes. And so last year we had 4 focus goals, and I'll give a quick update on these. The first was ensuring every student has an academic plan in their first year. I think we heard from Kay and Byron yesterday that the national average on this is about 15 or 20%. Lincoln was reported that we're at about 75% this year, to which Kay and Byron said, what about the other 25%? I get it, and it's a process, and what will really drive that for us, and this is going to be a big choice for the college to make. mandatory advising, mandatory orientation, and I would also add to that list the possibility of mandatory student success class for all students. All of these are big, challenging pieces. If we're going to mean it when we say mandatory, if we're going to put blocks in front of students, barriers in front of students that say you can't go on until you've done this, that's a big choice and a huge cultural shift for us. I'm not sure where we're going with this, but it will be part of our conversation this year, I guarantee you. Also coming up, focus goal from last year was systematizing best practices in our classrooms. And so we had a process of, and want to recognize Christy Callahan, Sharon Bjorkman, and Drew Bliss DiGiulio. Thank you for your leadership with this. What I love that they did is they went out and started this project by doing focus goals, focus groups with students, and they got student feedback. What matters to you? What impacts your experience here? What would help you be more successful? So I think they're doing a workshop on that focus goal experience, focus group experience, and what they heard back from students. And here's what they got back. Syllabus is incredibly important. It needs to be clear. It needs to outline what expectations are. It needs to not have a lot of threats and negative stuff in it. And it needs to probably not have a lot of extraneous things in it, but just really clear directions for our students for what they need to do to be successful in a class. We also heard timely feedback, and we're doing well with that, and class time spent applying what they're learning, so really doing something with it. So I want to thank you all for your leadership with this, and this will go on as well through this year. Focus goals are always intended to be 2-year processes, sort of assessing and planning and then full implementation of the focus goal in the second year. And so good progress on this one. Thank you. Focus goal number 3 is aligning math pathways. And so here's where we started out in fall of 17. 20 of 74 degrees had no recommended basic skills math course. Selected college prep math courses were listed as recommended basic skills were not the prerequisite for the college level math course required. 15 of 28 of our Associate of Arts degrees did not recommend any particular math course, just said take a math course. And of our Associate of Art degrees designated as degrees with designation, we have many that did not match the statewide transfer agreement. And here's where we are today. Every single degree we have has a recommended basic skills math course. DevEd and college level courses are aligned for all programs. Every degree has a preferred recommended or required college level math course, and we are aligned with our statewide transfer articulation agreements. Joe Southcott, thank you very much for your leadership. This is a big win for our students, just getting them in the right math classes. We also had a 4th focus goal, which was to create a sense of belonging. And this has turned into, with a lot of work, and there has been a lot of work on this. Regina Lewis, Hannah McNay really led this project. A lot of effort went into a number of different starts of where we would go with this to try to create a sense of belonging for all faculty, staff, and students. And this has turned into a physical plant project, which I will describe a little bit more in just a couple of minutes. We also have a new group of goals. So every year we set a new group of goals. Remember, we've got 5 years to get this strategic plan done. So we've got to chunk off about 20% of it a year. Number 1, improve diversity in hiring, especially among faculty and key leadership positions. Number 2 will be redesign of developmental education. So critical conversations coming up with that. I would say many of those critical conversations being driven out of our community college system office from Joe Garcia, who is very interested, very invested in what's happening to our students on this front. We also have some colleges in Colorado that are doing some really innovative things. We just had the provost for the Community College of Denver come and speak to a group of us to tell us about what they're doing with developmental education. They've made some remarkable steps. Anything we did there would also impact our first-year experience programs. So we've been deeply invested in AAA 109 and student success seminars. If we make changes to developmental ed, we've got to consider the repercussions across our first-year student experience piece. So a lot of conversations I expect going on this year around what's going to happen in these two areas. A bit more simply, but across the whole college, is standardizing our academic websites for all college academic programs. There's a lot of frustration with the lack of standardization of information, and the ability of students to get the information they need to make good choices about degree programs. And finally, this has really been ongoing, but just in an effort to be more transparent around what we're doing, high impact practices will certainly be and continue to be a focus goal. So with focus goals, we're looking for things that impact across the entire spectrum of the college, many people involved from different areas, and we're trying to be really transparent about what the budget priorities will be and what our attention priorities will be in the coming year. And so that's why we take these pieces out, call them focus goals, so that we can have intensive study on them and so that we can be transparent with the entire institution about where resources will be going. So this is our intention in the coming year around what our focus goals will be. Expect a 2-year process around these focus goals. Capital projects completed. We slowed down a little bit with capital projects, caught our breath a bit, and did a lot of planning, but we still accomplished a lot. We put fire sprinklers in all over Centennial Campus. This was critical for us to be able to move forward with other improvements to the campus. Access control at all campuses, so all outside doors by the end of October will have key cards instead of metal keys that will allow us to go in and out, really simplifying the process of managing access to our building. So if anybody needs a key card, make sure to let us know. We're right now in the process of trying to get the list together of who needs building access. And if we lose one with master keys, it could be thousands of dollars to rekey the locks. If we lose a key card, Surreal can turn it off in about 30 seconds. And so just a huge improvement. And the other piece, the real driver for this is safety, that public safety in the event of an emergency can lock down the building in a matter of seconds versus a couple of hours to go around and turn all the key locks. So big improvement on the public safety side as well. Walkways and repairs going on forever. Stairways to the atrium have been rebuilt. We're right now working on signage to improve wayfinding around the campus. We're new parking lot signage here at Centennial Campus. We continue to do classroom upgrades. We really had a 5-year program try to upgrade our classrooms. We did a really good job of that, I think. We got a little behind at Rampart the last couple of years. We focused in on some Rampart classrooms. You know, Rampart was always sort of the new building that didn't need any attention, and then it wasn't the new building that didn't need any attention. So we've really focused there. I think we're in pretty good shape. If you have a classroom that you're working in that you don't agree is in the kind of condition that says instruction is our top priority here, if you have things that are not working in your classroom, furniture, technology, lights, whatever it might be, please let us know. Our intention is, and our belief is that we're in pretty good shape with that. We relocated the call center to downtown. We have some new adjunct space that's been remodeled here in the F building. And I'll end with, at Springs Fab, this is our new construction space. So we were in a light manufacturing building called Spire Manufacturing. We had about 7,000 square feet of space. This year, we leased 26,000 square feet of space in a building called Springs Fabrication. We were already doing welding training there, so we just added to that. And this is our new construction program. They've got a lot of space, and over the next year, we'll be moving advanced manufacturing out of our B building and over to this space. That'll give us some swing space to really do some remodeling and updating on the B building. capital projects upcoming, and there's some big ones. The Allied Health Building. If you haven't heard about this, here it is. We are hoping that our state board will approve the purchase of well, it's not a brand new building, it's an existing building, but it is a new building. It's only been around for 10 years or so, and it is about half-mile north, due north as the crow flies, from the Rampart campus. There's not a street that goes straight to it, but it's very close to the North Campus. And this is where we intend to headquarter a lot of our allied health programs. So as we look at this list of new allied health programs, from Surge Tech, expansion of paramedic and EMT programs, physical therapy assistant, dental assisting expanding, and many others, we're going to have space to do it. The Rampart campus is our most scheduled campus, the tightest scheduling, the least availability of rooms. We've seen so much growth up north. So this is the combination of purchase price and renovation to make this building work for us. It's about a $10.5 million project. So a big investment from the college, and I'll take you back to those reserves. We're at about $40 million. A big chunk of that will go to acquisition of this building if all goes well. It's a beautiful building. It's in great shape. It actually looks a bit like our Rampart campus, as you can see here. And one of the key things with this building is it has a lot of big open space in it. It was formerly a semiconductor manufacturing facility. It's now a semiconductor research and design facility. It's owned by a company out of San Jose, California, really out of Silicon Valley. And it's got some big open space in it that will allow us to build a really state-of-the-art simulation space. And simulation is really where healthcare is going. We can do up to 50% of clinical simulation training for our healthcare programs. We can do up to 50% of our clinical training in simulation. And so our hospitals and healthcare providers are saying, we cannot do any more clinicals, but we've got to have more nurses. So right now we're working to increase our nursing cohorts by 50%, but we don't have any more clinical space. This simulation center will provide the clinical space for us to grow. So a big investment and a big change for the college to make an acquisition of this building. We also have recently, or just about to, at the end of August, we'll take possession of the building that we've owned for about 3.5 years downtown. And it's been the Borealis Bike Manufacturing Building. Building was not in great shape when we got it. It had been empty and unused for over 10 years. They came in and made some investment in the building, and we said, oh, maybe we could do something with this after all. And I have to give a lot of credit to our physical plant team, to Bob Rogers and to Matthew, who started saying, well, we don't have to design this building for state-of-the-art modern classrooms. What if we take advantage of what this building is, which is downtown and urban and sort of gritty. And so we're capitalizing on that, and what we'll move into this building by fall of 19 is we'll have our art gallery in there, we'll have our dance program in there, and we'll have our theater in there, and a very nice black box theater in there. So this is going to be about a $1.75 million investment. We'll have, at last, for those of you who have been around for a while, the Taffy Mullican Black Box Theater. If you're involved with this project, I will tell you these are the questions I keep asking. How much? How long was it going to take? Are the people who are moving into the building happy? If anybody has anything they want to add to that, I'd be very interested in any feedback. Also upcoming projects. So we're looking to be operational in this new Allied Healthcare building by fall of 19. We're looking to be operational in the Springs Fabrication by fall of 19 with advanced manufacturing. We're looking to be in the new Gateway Arts building. By the way, I missed the name of that. The Gateway Arts Center, you come right off of I-25, and we've got this renaissance going on downtown, and part of that is going to be this building. And I also want to mention that I've asked that the budget includes significant work on the facade of this building so that it looks like the kind of building that we would be proud of, and that we want people, the first impression that they get of Pikes Peak Community College might be seeing this building, and we want it to be representative of the good work we're doing. So all of those online by fall of 19. If you see Bob Rogers and folks from the physical plant team, give them a pat on the back and an attaboy, because boy, have we got a lot on their plate right now. And in addition to those, we've got a Rampart Range Learning Commons project. And in both the downtown and the Rampart Range Learning Commons project are really driven by the success of the Learning Commons here at Centennial. I think the success we had in bringing more students in and providing more academic support created an imperative for us to do this at downtown and Rampart. So phase 2 of downtown will be about a 4,000 square foot learning commons that will capture the space that the art gallery and the dance studios were taking to create that. At Rampart, same thing, about $1.5 million renovation to really turn that library into a state-of-the-art learning commons. We have the Rotunda community space. So I'm calling this the faculty, staff, student interact space. This is the one that's coming out of focus goal number 4. We have an architect and designer who works with coffee shops and restaurants, who's come in and is working with us to help us create space in the Rotunda that people want to be in. And I'll have to say right now, the space in the Rotunda, you can sit at a hard chair at a hard table in the middle of a walkway up there, is not very inviting. So things that we're going to do there is we're going to put ice machines, water machine, and free coffee machine in there. And we're going to create space, I hope, that faculty, staff, and students all want to be in and will interact there and just create more connection and collisions among people so that we know each other more and there's more connectedness on campus. So that's the goal with around the creating a sense of belonging. For those of you who are here at the Aspen Building who are part of this, and I think most of them are in intensive work right now enrolling students, but this has been a long time ask, is to replace the windows all along the east side of the building, along the enrollment services area. We got over $1 million. Things are so expensive, but this is a state-funded project of capital maintenance to repair the elevated walkways here at Centennial Campus. It's a $1 million project. And we're going to be rebuilding the electrical system. Many of you may have been impacted by our restricted electric system here at Centennial. So this is also an over $1 million project funded by the state for us. And finally, hail does indeed happen. This is actually me holding a hailstone outside. Many of you are with me on this with the car damage, and what I need you to know about this is every roof at Centennial is going to have to be replaced. We have significant damage at our campus from this. We're expecting state risk management to fund approximately $5 million in repairs, all brand new roofs. That's great if the hailstorms will just stop. And what's really going to be a pain, though, is it's going to take us a good year to get this work done. I need you to know there's going to be buckets in the hallways and possibly buckets in classrooms. I know this stage has leaks on it as well. I'm sorry. Contractors are really hard to get right now. They're all backed up. We're doing our best to get them out here as quickly as possible, but we're estimating it could take us a full year to recover from all the damage from the hailstorm and get all of our roofs repaired. So I'm sorry, and that is where that is. And that's my update. How are we doing on time? Oh, pretty good. I think I'm about 10 minutes over. I'm going to blame Regina and Joellen and Robin for making me late. Is there any quick questions? Anybody? Yes, I'll take one here.
Working, yep. Thank you, Dr. Bolton, for a great presentation. And got to say, I've never seen moves done quite like that before, but good.
Yeah.
Rick Mercado with the Automotive Department. And my question is that we have higher retention going on, which is awesome. We have higher enrollment going on, which leads to a larger footprint somewhere along the way. I'm wondering if you have plans for the technical trades maybe to allow to grow. I know collisions outgrowing, diesel's certainly outgrown their stuff. Our service department's really outgrown our stuff. And, we've been doing what we can with what we've got, but I'm wondering if there's a footprint coming in the future.
You bet. So two things about that, Rick, and thanks for your question. One, I think the B building needs some significant renovation. It is not representative in its appearance of our commitment to excellence in education. So it needs to look better. The leasing of 26,000 square feet of space at Springs Fab is going to allow us to move many of the advanced manufacturing programs out. So that's things like robotics and electronics will move over there. CAD and 3D printing will move over there. Michelle, help me with what else is moving over there. Machining, yes, thank you. All of those will be moving in the next 12 months to Springs Fab. That's going to create new space in the B building for us to be able to expand existing programs. And so what's on the table longer term, though, is do we build a new building for our CTE programs here at Centennial, or do we try to acquire a building as we have for Allied Health? One of those two things has to happen. We have a 5-year lease on this additional space at Springs Fab. So we've got a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. We probably have maybe 12 or 18 months to try to make a decision about, do we want to ask students to help us fund, for example, a bond to build a new or an expanded CTE building here? Or do we go out and look for a light manufacturing building and try to take advantage of something that's on the market? I don't know which one, but one of those two things is going to happen for us to continue to meet the needs in our community. So you're absolutely 100% right about that, and I'm rowing with you on that. You're welcome.
I have one. I work at the downtown campus.
Where are you?
Yeah, I'm up here.
Okay, sorry.
And parking over by the train tracks is not a problem until I have to drag all my stuff across the grass to get to the building. Is there something that can be done about a walkway from that extra parking space to our downtown campus?
Oh, I don't know. What I will tell you is that the gravel walkway that goes across to the gate opening, that gravel walkway crosses land that General Palmer donated to the city of Colorado Springs. And the city of Colorado Springs has been quite unfriendly about any attempts on our part to do anything with that. We've talked about being able to pave a driveway in for maintenance and deliveries. We've asked them about access to being able to use that land during the construction work on that building. I would say at this point, the answer is likely going to be no. I do think that once the renovation of that building is complete, the design work that I've seen allows for potentially for people to be able to enter and pass through a corridor and back out the front of the building. So that might be a possibility, but boy, the city is not friendly about us paving or doing anything with that General Palmer land. They have a long tradition of protecting that to against any sort of development on it. And so that's really where that is. Hang on just a second. We're going to get you a microphone. And I'll let this be the last question because I think I'm just a little bit over time.
In the evenings at Centennial Campus, the city bus service ends before our evening classes end. And so my students end up with this situation where they have to leave class about 15 minutes early because our class, our our evening schedule moved later, so it's 6 to 8:45. And now they have to leave class before class ends in order to catch the bus service. So I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do on that end.
Conrad, and we got a win with the city bus system. Sounds like we need another win with the city bus system. Here's the thing that I would tell you about this that's going to be most important. Ridership will drive our credibility with the city and the bus system. So the way that the bus system works is part of the funding comes from people paying fares to get on the bus. A lot of the funding comes from federal programs that pay the city based on ridership. If we get a lot of ridership on the city buses, we're going to be a credible partner with them, and I think they'll be responsive to our needs. If we don't get a lot of ridership on the city buses with this new bus program, our credibility with the city and public transit is going to be very weak, and we're not likely to get much help there. So I would say they move very slowly. It took us a good year and a half, 2 years, Conrad, at least, to get the buses up to the Rampart campus. This is not as big of an ask. Could the buses run later? But every hour the buses run costs significant money. I think certainly in the 6 figures per hour, so hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour to run the buses. I would love to be a credible partner with Mountain Metro and to be able to go and say, a lot of your ridership is coming from Pikes Peak. We need those buses to run an extra hour. If we're doing a good job, I think they'll take care of us. That's what I got for you on that. Hey, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful semester, and congratulations.